What is going on, everybody? What is going on? Of course, the real Bobby Dirkens. Now, I don't even know if I'm going to keep this video up. I really don't, but I said, hey, I've posted like 2 or 3 videos today. Why not do one as myself? For those of you who don't know me, I am the real Bobby Dirkens. Hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications. It lets you know when I'm going to put up the video. So this is not normal for me. I really don't do this much. I think I might have done this twice out of like 250 videos. So it's a Saturday night. It's a week before we go on and we actually get to see some football. I got Prince 6'1" in the house. Let me tell you right now, if there is one cool guy in the world, Prince 6'1" is the man. One of the most kind, giving people. I mean, he took me and Pigskin Pete, took us out to the Louisville game. We got to get. I mean, it was just awesome. Prince 6'1", he's great, great guy. I think we're going to the Florida State game together this year. Tiger Nation's probably joining us. Tiger Nation, great people. Pigskin Pete is just the man. He is the dude. So if you don't know him, go subscribe to him. Bunch of people on here saying "May there" to me. It's good to see y'all. Clemson Carson on here, Guitar J. I appreciate y'all joining me. The Wholesome One Holloway, the U family. I watched you, brother. I watched you the other day. Of course, I'm not doing my Bobby Dirkens. I'm not doing that right now. But if y'all don't know the Wholesome Holloway, let me tell you this. I pick at Miami. I pick at Miami all the time. Okay? Let me tell you this. Miami has their tradition. They have their history. And if they'll just hire the right darn coach, Miami is one of those teams that can just, literally, it could be a year and then just, they own college football again. I'm glad he's on here. If you don't know him, he's got like 8,000 or 9,000 subscribers. He is really burning the woods up. Go follow him right now. Not because I tell you to, it's because it's worth it, man. He really does some good stuff. Watched you the other day. So great people out there. Got Dog Bite on here. Big Georgia fan. Saying he's respect Clemson. Hey, let me tell you this. If you talk to any sensible Clemson fan, they respect Georgia. And by the way, Georgia, for those of you who really don't know, I see General Shadow Man on here. Good to see you, buddy. For those of you who really don't know the geographical location of Clemson and Athens, Georgia, we're only like an hour and 40 minutes from each other, right? An hour and 40 minutes from each other. Bobby Dirkens Jr., you're supposed to be in bed, young man. He probably isn't. He's watching on his iPad. Hey, buddy. Clemson Carson's on here. Said, I wish Clemson, Georgia would come back. And that's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, we are the 2 closest teams to each other who are actually legitimate. You got me? That's legitimate. They're legitimate football teams. They're close to each other. Those are the 2 closest legitimate football teams to each other. I think that Columbia is about the same distance, but at the end of the day, we know that the Gamecocks is not near in the same league as Clemson or Georgia. We know that Georgia Tech, who probably would be about the same distance to Clemson as Georgia, we know that they're really not. I mean, God help them. So I just want to jump on here. I'm just kind of impromptu. I don't even know if I'm going to keep this video up. If you like it, bunch of thumbs up. Tell me I can keep doing it. Come on, here's my real self. I'm even going to take my Bud Light hat this time. I'm just going to flip it around. I'm not Bobby Dirkens. I got Tiger Nation on here. Hey, buddy. I was just talking about you just a second ago. One of my first subscribers. Nice guy. He texts me here and there. Prince texts me. I actually stalk Pigskin Pete bi-weekly. It's one of the fun things I get to do. But I just want to jump in. I want to talk about Clemson season. Of course, this is not the Bobby Dirkens preview. I really want to talk about the season. I read this week, and it was one of the things that kind of just stopped me for a second and said, you know what? You believe that Clemson's going to win the national championship. I've been pulling for Clemson for as long as I can remember. I remember when Danny Ford was still the head coach. I can barely remember it, but I remember when he was the head coach. I remember when he was fired. I remember asking my dad, going, hey, why would they fire him? And literally, I was young. Why would they fire him if he was doing so well? And I remember my dad said, well, there's some things going on and some people back off of this. Now it says I'm live again, so y'all forgive me for that. Hopefully everybody's still there. But what I was going to say here is that I remember when Danny Ford was the coach. I remember Ken Hatfield years. I remember when they fired him for losing Florida State when they did. like they did 57-0. That same team won a national championship with Charlie Ward. He won the Heisman Trophy. Really kind of put the stamp of approval for the Florida State era and Bobby Bowden. But I remember the Tommy West years. I remember just getting beat down left and right. I remember losing to Donovan McNabb and the Gator Bowl 41-0. It's a game that I try to forget every day. Marvin Harrison was playing wide receiver for Syracuse. I mean, and I remember the Bowden years. When Bowden was hired, that was actually a really good hire. I mean, at the time, his dad was still killing it. He just he was undefeated at Tulane. That was it. Had Sean King down there. And so that was a good hire at the time. But here's the deal. Here's the deal that I sit back and I look at the end of the day. Where we're at now because of Sweeney. We're standing at this place because of Sweeney. It's not because Clemson deserves it. It's not because it's Clemson fans. I know some Clemson fans right now who are awfully arrogant. Like, yeah, I'm sitting there going, dude, there's been programs who have been, as much as I love my Tigers, who have had years more worth of tradition of winning than Clemson has. And right now, they're in the dumpster of college football. So, we want to be careful not to. You can enjoy it, have fun, talk a little trash. That's how we all do. But at the end of the day, you don't want to be a douche, right? None of us wants to be, well, some of us do, and they're just jerks. But none of us really want that. We want to have belief in our teams and so on. So I really believe that Clemson is the front runner for the national championship. Until the other day, I stopped for a second. It was kind of like a reality check. When I stepped back and I looked and I saw that Clemson's been having some problems on the defensive side with health. Last year, of course, we had that incredible, just nutty front line. It's once in a lifetime line. I mean, come on, guys. Got a couple of guys on here, Nick and Bo, saying hello to me. Enjoy the show. Thank you so much. Hope you've subscribed. Tell your friends, family, clergymen, as Bobby Dirkens says. But I'm glad you're here. I'm glad everybody's here. I'm with you, Clemson Carson. I'm sitting here just hoping that these injuries are minor. It's stuff that they can get over in just a few weeks. Hopefully it's nothing that's going to be re-aggravated a little later on in the season. For me, looking at it, and I'm not Bobby right now, though I could break off into Bobby any second. Really for me, as a Clemson fan, if you really get past the first 3 weeks, and I say first 3 weeks, but you have to play Georgia Tech, right? I'm not really worried about Georgia Tech. They're literally changing a system that's been in place for 12 years, and not only are they changing a system, they're changing an offensive type that you have to recruit a very specific player. That's really not a style unless you go to a really small high school out in the middle of South Carolina or out in the middle of, Nebraska or somewhere like that and find that type of player. And then on top of that, you have to get them into the school because though I joke about it, the truth is Georgia Tech doesn't offer a lot of majors. It is what it is. And it really, really makes it more difficult to recruit, right? It is what it is. So I expect Clemson to beat the crap out of Georgia Tech. It's going to be their first game since beating the crap out of Alabama. I'll never forget that as long as I live. It was almost like playing a PlayStation game to where you watch your favorite team beat the crap out of the team who can't stop. Jonathan Inglis, may there to you. It's good to see you, buddy. Of course, I'm not doing my Bobby Dirkens thing right now, but he said he found my channel and he really digs it. Man, I like that. I appreciate it. I appreciate the compliments. I appreciate the thumbs up. I just get on here and have fun. Of course, it's my alter ego, Bobby, but tonight I'm just chilling out as me. I'm much more boring than Bobby. But appreciate it. Appreciate all the thumbs up and all the subscriptions. It really does mean a lot to me. All the comments, even the ones that I might not even like, I appreciate it. Georgia Tech, I believe we're going to win that game. Phone's starting to die now. Second game, of course, Texas A&M. We know where we're at there. We know that Jimbo Fisher, whether you like him or whether you don't like him, whether you think that he was guilty of stuff at Florida State or not, and all this bunch of stuff, truth is, Jimbo Fisher can coach football. Jimbo Fisher, the truth about it is he won a national championship as what, the OC at LSU under Saban. He won a national championship as a head coach. Guy knows how to win. He knows how to coach. He asked Kellen Mond. Kellen Mond, I did one video earlier this year, and I was trying to do this thing where I go through and I took, did the highlights video. And it's really finicky to do it on YouTube because you have to be really, really careful for copyright infringement and stuff, and so on. But I was sitting there amazed at how, got Smallville on here. Garrett Sanders, good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. I haven't talked to you in a while. After this, I'm going to bed, but we'll have to catch each other tomorrow. You have to call me. You have to call me tomorrow. We've got Robert Zerathon here. I hope I said your name right. It's good to see you, buddy. Texas A&M is going to give us their very, very best. Their very first week's really cupcake game. Really don't have a problem with cupcake games to a point. Michael Brown, good to see you, pal. Glad you're on here, pal. Caught you on the last couple of videos where I was doing those reviews and I was just busting through them. Jake Hord's on here. Howdy, friend. Texas A&M always brings a lot to the table when you have somebody like Fisher coaching them. We saw the fits that they gave Clemson. I'll say this with A&M. They're going to come in. They're going to play hard. I'll just get back on track because I started reading some comments people was leaving here. Texas A&M is going to be very good. I believe that they're going to fight. I believe they're going to finish second in the West. I just did a video. You should check it out. I do think, Robert, I agree with you, and Tiger Nation, I agree with you. I believe A&M is going to be probably our best game of the regular season. I know some people's going to say, of course, that's SEC football. Listen, I'm not up for that argument right now. I'm just talking about good football teams. I'm not even worried about that. Texas A&M is going to ruin some seasons in the SEC for some people. And they're going to be sitting there going, what the crap just happened to me? What the crap just happened to me? You continue to allow Fisher, as I said, whether you like him or not, you allow him continue to recruit well, and he gets time. They will be so dangerous in the SEC, Saban will have a problem. All right? The next thing that I'll throw out here too, if Texas does not turn this corner this year, because this is a year for Texas to turn the corner. If you're a Texas fan and they don't turn the corner this year, they're not turning the corner this year. And by the way, they're not back. Just by beating Georgia, who didn't want to be there in the Sugar Bowl, does not mean they're back. I'm not taking away what they did, but they're not back. And I don't have, I seriously, I say this as Bobby, but I'm serious. I really don't have a problem with Texas. But if they don't do well, the thing I step back and I look at is they're going to start losing recruits. And where are they going? Texas A&M. Go to Texas A&M. And I just at Florida State. He was doing great. And then this guy who seems too perky on the sidelines, who seems too happy, and he's got more slogans than the marketing team, is running his mouth. Everybody thinks, well, it is what it is. And then Sweeney starts winning. And then people are unhappy that Florida State's not doing what they're doing. He pissed on their parade. It is what it is. You're going to get your best out of Jimbo Fisher. After that, you're at Syracuse. I'm going to tell you this. Somebody just asked me a question a little bit ago, and I didn't answer your question. You were talking about Florida State. You don't really think that Taggart's the man for the job. Who do I think would, if I can remember this right, who do I think would take his place? By the way, congrats Smallville moving into his new apartment there at Jacksonville State. He's there. He does a great job, by the way. he has some great shows. Probably one of the most intelligent preseason predictors I know. This guy is incredible. He knows what he's doing. Garrett, hadn't talked to you in a while, bud. We got to catch up. But going back to the question, who do I think, if I remember this right, who do I think would maybe take his place? I tell you, a great hire for Florida State, an amazing hire to me for Florida State would be Dino Babers. I know that some people would step back. There's people who's probably sitting there going, "What do you mean, Dino Babers? Why would you hire Dino Babers?" Listen to me. I have no personal problem with Willie Taggart. I'm just saying, when you come from a school, listen to me. When you come from a school like Oregon, and the conference has not been that great, the conference is not that good, and you go 6-6, and you have the talent there to probably win 8 or 9 games, and you're not fighting against the Southern Cal of old with, like Leinart, Bush, and all those guys. You're not having to fight against that. I don't know. I just don't get the hire in the first place. But I don't believe that he'll be there over 3 or 4 years. I could be totally wrong. But I really believe that somebody who is coaching within the league at Syracuse, I believe that would be a great hire. If right now I found out that Dino Babers ended up at Florida State, as a Clemson fan, I'd step back and go, "Oh, crap. Oh, crap. This guy, he did what he did at Syracuse." Have you ever looked at Syracuse on a map? I'm just saying, if you stop and you look where, other than basketball, nobody's fighting to get into Syracuse at all. Put him in Florida State. You put him at Florida State. He's already there in Florida, and right there, I mean, Tallahassee's right there below Georgia. What is that, Thomasville, Georgia? That's where Charlie Ward's from. It's only like, I don't know, an hour north or so, roughly, of Tallahassee. So it's basically on the Florida line. The point is here's the point. Dino Babers at Florida State would be very dangerous. I believe would be very, very dangerous. I believe he would be a guy that you would say, "Hey, man, this guy's a really, really good coach. He has a lot of promise. He did a lot with a little at the school he was coaching for before. This is the guy. This is the guy." I'm just not sold on Taggart, but right now I see some people talking about me as my real self and not Bobby Dirkens. Eric, that's some cleverness. That's really clever. And the Tiger Nation said, if you ever met him, this is what he's really like. I'm very boring. Not as Bobby Dirkens. Bobby Dirkens is a classic. I have Larisha on here. How's it going? To make you feel at home. Man, how you doing? I'm just very boring. But I love Clemson football. I love college football. And let's talk about this for a second. I'm not going to go too much farther. If our defense really wants... Our defense will be where our teams are winning or where we're losing. At the end of the day, that's where we're going to win the games and where we're going to lose the game. Because we know that offensively, Clemson is not going to be stopped offensively. They're not. They're just not. Especially with this schedule. And hey, I'll tell you right now, Clemson barely has a top 50 schedule, right? I'm not going to sit here and talk about. I'm not going to sit here and act like Clemson has some amazing schedule. But at the same time, every time Clemson plays a really good team, guess what happens? They beat them, and they beat them bad. You know? It is what it is. really the health of the Clemson defense, whether we can stay healthy. I do believe that we're going to see some really, really good play out of Foster. We're going to see some great play out of Henry. We're going to see, obviously, great play out of Thomas, Niles Pinckney, Isaiah Simmons being back there. A lot of people forget how powerful having that guy in the middle of the field, sort of, kind of, is going to be. I know Skalski, he's really fired up. He's ready to go. Somebody just said, I'm worried about linebacker. Me too. Me too. But I think when you step back and you see the talent that's around them, it's a big deal. And I think really that what was a question last year is actually going to be the thing that maybe will anchor down some of what's going on in the backfield to give the linebackers, and especially the line, a little more time to actually penetrate, put pressure on the quarterback, and just, do their thing, right? I think that it'll give them a chance to grow as a team. But I really feel like that once we get past the Syracuse game, Dino Babers knows how to coach against Clemson. He knows what he's doing. He knows how he's attacking us. He knows what to think. The truth is, I think once we get past them, we're undefeated for the rest of the year. I did see that comment, Clemson Carson, and I agree with you to a point. But going undefeated is difficult for anybody. But I think that we always go back to who's commanding, who's the captain of the ship. And we could talk about the coaching team or the coaching squad. Let's talk about the coaches for a second. When you have coaches, and I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm maybe bringing some calm to you, or maybe some thought, and maybe a little a friendly rebuttal. Though it is very possible for them to lose a game this season. I mean, they could lose to A&M. They could lose to Syracuse because Babers is that good. I really don't see a game after that they would lose. I think that the loss would come in the first 3 weeks, especially if we have a problem with the defense. But I think let's start with the coaches. Let's start with the coaches. Sweeney, he's going into his 12th full year there. We have Venables, and you're like, well, I know who's our coaches, but I'm still back, and I say this. I guess what I would step back and say is that when you look at Alabama and you think about how many coaches they lose all the time, and the Clemson's lost only 2 coaches over the past 7 or 8 years. I know that's kind of up and down, kind of the time frame, but it's it's 2 coaches. And like a 7-year period, there's a lot of continuity there. That's words I don't use as Bobby because people would know Bobby would never say continuity. But you get continuity, and you know each other, and your players know each other. And when you ask a player who played 4 years at Clemson as a defensive player, they say, who was your defensive coordinator? You name one guy. If you're at Alabama, you name like 2 or 3. And that's not a slap at them. That's just the truth. And I always hear this from Alabama fans. Alabama's fans always say this, well, that's because they want to go make that big money. What big money? Going up to Maryland? Or going to these other places? And I mean, Clemson will pay you well to be an offensive coordinator, even though we have 2. And I'm with Pigskin Pete. We've talked about this on a couple of phone calls. That this is probably Tony Elliott's last year. One of those guys is his last year. I think Venables will stick around, especially with his son being there. But we have the coaching staff that can weather us through the storm. So we have that. We have that continuity. We have that chemistry that they've had for a while. The next thing I would say is, let's go back to Lawrence. Lawrence is a once-in-a-lifetime player. And I remember last year, around this time, Georgia fans were really, really quick to remind us, we got the #1 recruit in the country. We got the #1 recruit in the country. What was his name, Justin Fields? Yeah, he plays for Ohio State now. He doesn't play for you anymore. He claimed he was uncomfortable there. So he's gone. He's gone. He didn't feel comfortable with you anymore. He's now up in Columbus. Also, there's great player development with us. If you come into Clemson and you're not developed great as a player, that means you hit your ceiling when you were in high school or a freshman in college. And that's why when guys like ETN comes in, or when a guy like Trevor Lawrence comes in, or, like T. Higgins didn't fold when Justin Ross came in. When T. Higgins came in and Mike Williams, or Deion Kane was still there, Deion Kane didn't fold. I think he left too early, but Deion Kane didn't fold. Those types of players, they're being developed. And we have the player development. The offensive line is solid. We're hearing crazy things about the running backs at Clemson right now, aside from ETN. Lynn J. Dixon right now is just doing his thing. I mean, it's something we were just expecting. I know Dukes, and of course, is it Maluzzi or Missoula? I always mess up his name. I got to nail that down. Maluzzi. Ches Maluzzi. I think he's out of like Naples. By the way, I'm going on a trip to Naples in a month. So I'm looking forward to that. But my point is they're doing great. Of course, Gatto. We have Ladson. Ladson's having some problems right now. Here's the point. Offense, we have no problem. Our backup is really good. Chase Bryce is a really, really good quarterback. He is a really good quarterback. So I would be fine if Trevor, especially in some of these games, I don't want to say doesn't matter, because if you lose them, it definitely matters. In the games that he doesn't have to play all of them, I'd be happy to see Chase Bryce come out there and throw. Somebody asked a question just a second ago, could you see ETN at 1,500 and Lynn J. Dixon at 1,000 rushing yards? Yeah, I could. They're that good. They are that good. So, anyway, as I said, I don't know if I'm going to keep this video up. You tell me whether you want me to keep this video up. Seriously, I'm not digging for compliments or thumbs up or anything. You just let me know whether you want me to keep this up. Either way, I'm going to have to go. My phone's about to die. I need to go to bed. I got to go to church tomorrow. I want to go to church tomorrow. But, yeah, I'm going to be really, really tired and yawning tomorrow morning if I don't. Go Tigers, go Tigers. I'm really, really proud of them. Thank you all for joining. All of y'all are awesome. Thank you so much for joining me and my crazy antics. And I have people come on here and they think Bobby Dirkens is real, which he is. He's real to all of us in our hearts deep down. And we all know a Bobby Dirkens, right? We all know a Bobby Dirkens. I just think my version is just much, much, much funnier than some of the other versions, because the reason I like him is because I can shut him up. Other people, I just can't get rid of them. So, go Tigers. I'm very happy for them. Hit the subscribe button. Turn on notifications. Guys, we're less than 2 weeks from Clemson beating the soup. I said soup. Out of Georgia Tech and going on a run for another national championship. Everybody, it's good to see you, Tiger Nation. Robert, Larisha, it's all good. Great to see you. Clemson, Carson, all of you. I can't remember you all. I'm glad you're here. Catch you next time. And remember, go check out the other videos I've done, especially my Ed Orgeron impersonation. You'll find it. It's Ed Orgeron, SEC Media Day. Go check that out. See y'all later.